Hey there, Liz at Hooks Greenhouse, and I just wanted to talk to you about some of these thujas or some plants that are great for a privacy hedge. So I know after this last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, that maybe you were sitting on your patio and you saw a little bit too much of your neighbor, and maybe you'd like to put a privacy fence, but in the way of a plant. So I have some arborvitaes that I'm going to talk about here that you can maybe plant in between you and your neighbor, so that you can have something pretty to look at during the summer months when you're on your patio. So the first one I have is this Thuja Emerald Squeezy. This one is a very tight one. It gets smaller. It will get 6 to 9 feet tall, so you can plant these kind of tight to have a nice little narrow but short arborvitae. This one right next door is the Thuja Smarge or Emerald Green Thuja. This one gets 10 to 15 foot tall. It is a little bit wider. It's not as narrow as the Emerald Squeezy. So this one is great if you want something where you can space it out a little bit more. That way you can have it just be a little bit taller, a little bit fuller. We're going to walk around and I'm going to show you a couple different other arborvitaes, but these are a great price. $15.99 on either of these. They're in a gallon size pot. This size is a great size because you can plant it easily. You don't have to dig a big hole. They are easier to care for. You don't have to worry so much about not getting enough water down to those bottom roots. You still have to do a nice soaking, but they're just a little bit easier. So once they grow up, which happens fairly quickly, so the first few years on an arborvitae, they're just going to work a lot on their root growth, and then usually that second, third year, you're going to start seeing a substantial amount of leaf growth, and then they'll start taking off from there. It's usually in that 3 to 5 years when you're like, wow, they've doubled in size. They're looking great. So you do have to be a little bit patient. I do have some bigger arborvitaes that we can go over and take a look at, and I'll explain a few more things that are great for that privacy hedge. So here we have this beautiful yellow color. This is a Thuja Jand Gold. So Jand Gold, it is a beautiful color. It stays like this all season. It gets 8 to 15 foot tall. It tends to stall after the first 10 years, so a lot of people will put it in planters. They'll just kind of let it stay at that 6, 8 foot. It's kind of a slower grower, but it'll keep this beautiful shape. So if you're worried about the height about it, don't be too worried because it is a little bit slower grower. But beautiful color, looks great in your landscaping. I would probably space these, figure that they're going to have like a 4 to 5 foot spread. So beautiful Thuja. So next we're going to go to the Green Giants, and that's going to be great if you really need to have some tall height. They are a little bit bigger. I have some small ones and I have some taller ones. Okay, I am here in front of these gorgeous Green Giant arborvitaes. These are beautiful. They are a wonderful tree. This is what we have here across our whole back field because we are in like a wind tunnel. The wind comes off the field in the back and it knocks everything over. So our goal is to actually have these across the whole property, and eventually they'll be big enough that we won't have a wind problem. So this is a tremendous price at $69.99. They are huge. You can see I have one here on the ground next to me. I am 5'8", so I mean they're every bit of 6 foot. Beautiful plant here. Whenever you get into this size pot, you want to do some preliminary work before you get them in the ground. You want to think about that soil. You want to get some, we always call it the PVC pipe trick. If you've never heard me say this before, I usually tell anybody that's buying these big plants, but a PVC pipe trick is that you're going to buy a piece of PVC pipe. You're going to cut it about to the same height as this pot. You'll want for this size planter or this size pot, you're probably going to want 3 of them. They can be, I don't even know what size that would be. Somebody who knows those things would know. But a nice size pipe. So when you dig your hole, you're going to come out a little bit bigger from this pot, dig a nice big hole. You take that native soil, you put it on the ground. You're going to add potting soil to it. Mix it up really, really good. Put your plant into the hole. You're going to make sure that your soil height is the same, and then you're going to put those PVC pipes in the hole next to the plant, the plant root ball, and then you're going to backfill with soil. And then my husband always makes like a little dam around it with soil. And then when you water, you're going to water and it's going to go down those PVC pipes and hit the bottom roots, which are your tap roots. Bottom roots is the top of your plant. So when you're watering, it's going to keep it all the way saturated, all the way down to those bottom roots. If you weren't doing this PVC pipe trick, then when you water and you only water just a little bit, then you'd end up losing the tops of your trees because you're just not getting saturated enough. So we call that the PVC pipe trick. But back to these arborvitaes. I digress. Back to the arborvitaes. $69.99 king. This is the king of the thujas. This is Green Giant. We'll get 40 to 60 foot tall. It is a monster of an arborvitae. And you will see 3 to 5 foot of growth per year as it's once it gets established and rooted. So give it a nice year or a year and a half to really start growing. But after that, you see it just shooting up very quickly. Ours have been planted for a few years in the back, and they have easily doubled in size. They're growing so fast. We just make sure to give them water whenever we need to. So these are those wonderful Green Giants. I have them in these big pots. I have some more over on the side that are in a 1 gallon pot. I believe they're $16.99, so that's a tremendous buy too, because it's not going to take them very long to shoot up and be great for your privacy fence. Over here I have Northern Spire. It's another arborvitae. It's a really nice one. It doesn't get as tall as these Green Giants, but it is another real thick, dense arborvitae. All these arborvitaes are great if you want a nice evergreen privacy fence. If you wanted to do something that's deciduous, so it would lose its leaves for the winter, I would highly suggest lilacs. They grow beautiful. They'll be 6 to 8 foot tall. We have some white ones. We have some light purpley color ones. We also have hydrangeas. We have the hardy hydrangea, I believe we have over there. Little lime, that's a 6 foot tall one. So that's great for having some good blooms throughout the summer. We have lots of beautiful grasses. Some people will kind of do like the arborvitaes and then grasses in between. You could even space out your arborvitaes further than what they're supposed to be and plant something beautiful in between, like the hydrangeas or grasses in between, just to have some depth, some color there. All these arborvitaes are great for you to have a budget-friendly way to block your neighbors and block the wind. So thanks for joining us here at Hook's Greenhouse. We're all the way in the back of the greenhouse, so stop back here and see what we have to offer you. We'll see you soon. Bye.